nikuulize, wewe kama unajua mtu ni mwizi na unazidi kwenda kufanya kazi na huyo mwizi, what does that mean?
Na mimi ni rais.
Yes.
Unajua
wa hiyo jamhuri.
Kuna kitu moja nitakana tuseme wazi wazi. I think there are two things that have always baffled me. If today I am not running a casino, I am not running a sport pesa kind of business, I am not in betting, and I come and say we lose 2 billion every day, and I am in charge of this organization, is that not what enough resignation as a leader?
Yes.
The other thing that has always baffled me when we discuss corruption, development, leadership and politics, it is very funny that our leaders have business acumen that can grow their business tenfold, but their acumen ends when they wakiingia kwa mlango ya ofisi. They are no longer good businessmen. So that it is just, is it a miracle that all our leaders biashara zao zinafanya vizuri sana, lakini serikali inadidimia?
Of course.
Do we have you asked ourselves as Kenyans that if you own goats, your own goats are multiplying, lakini zile za public, zile zenye unachunga zinapungua. Ulipewa zikiwa 10, yako ilikuwa 3. By the time you are done kuchunga zetu za jamii ama za public zimekuwa 2, yako ni 11.
Hiyo ndio uizi Muluka nazungumzia.
Sasa
uwezi werevu.
Now Gerald, just so that I can finish. What now that we are 15 months to an election, the public must be told, and I am saying this before, if God gives me breath, I will not analyze politics in the next dispensation. For a simple reason. We need to make so much noise to Kenyans now, telling them we will not cry with you in the buyer's remorse. You vote in vagabonds, you suffer the problems they'll come with. Today, for example, you know somebody in the village, this person has had only one goat as an MCA. Unampigia kura, mshahara ya MCA is known. Within 3 months, ajaunda barabara, lakini amenunua mbuzi 10. Isn't that warranting a demonstration to his compound to muulize, tell us the magic? You have not made our road, but you have grown. I think we need to tell Kenyans that we will not be taking some of things for granted.
Utusaidie mfupa ambao bora. Haya.
Kama umefanya hivi, or help us. You know, we have very many unemployed youth in this country. Help us the idea that when the moment you are sworn in, your business acumen increases exponentially, and your leadership decreases, so that the public goes down as you go up. How?
Interesting. All right. There are two things I want us to combine, and then we go to the business of the day. The two is so that we don't waste a lot of time. I want us to combine two. MPs allied to DP as they have threatened to leave en masse Jubilee party. I would wonder what are the legal consequences. Maybe are these guys going to lose seats? 15 months to an election. Allied to the DP.
Oh, okay.
MPs allied to the DP. And then the story of Kalonzo Mudavadi in a drive to Raila from presidential race. They are saying you promised us, so we are not. This is a time when they're talking about BBI. You're going to be in one house, thought we make the presidency. Now they are saying it's okay, but Raila Odinga, we are not going to allow you to be the president. You'll go in first.
I thought first of all, starting with BBI, like I've said before, you know, for me, I'm first of all, by the way, let me congratulate my adopted county of Baringo for rejecting that BBI nonsense. I hope many others will follow suit to teach these people a lesson that you cannot lie to Kenyans like the way you lied to our children in 2013 that will give you a laptop. 9 years later, you also now want to come and lie to us that BBI is the solution to everything. So if BBI is supposed to even bring this country together, so why is Mudavadi, Kalonzo and Raila, who are proponents even of BBI, hang around it, now all of a sudden want to bar the other? You know, Bitok, me, I've tried to distance my way from discussing something that I think for me is of no consequence. Because like I said, BBI is a big fat lie. You know, first of all, me, I believe it's unconstitutional to begin with. It is directionless, it's duplicitous. I don't even think we should waste our time talking about BBI right now. We should be saying what is our priority for Kenya now going forward. 2022 is around the corner. We should be talking about this COVID, the devastating effects of COVID on the economy of Kenya, and all those other things. So, the reason Kalonzo, Mudavadi are now talking, jostling, they are used to being promised things. They cannot work to to their way into the presidency. So this thing of, and again, go back to
Exactly.
you go back to the choreography of this country, and that's why for me, one of the points that we must make, even Karori, as Karori tells us, we must make Kenyans angry. Look at the choreography of Kenya today. It's being choreographed by the same thieves and their surrogates. In fact, we forgot to mention the surrogates, because these thieves who have entrenched themselves have actually created surrogates over time, who are seen not to be, for example, the misnomer I see in Jubilee today is that William Ruto is the man to beat in 2022. That is almost the narrative. But at the same time, you're also saying Jubilee government has failed Kenyans, has put us into all this deep hole. But why then do we expect William Ruto to be the miracle maker in 2022, when there has been part and parcel, as deputy is actually the failure of Jubilee? So the problem in Kenya is that we think, and this is the problem I have with the people who say Linda Katiba. You know, who will Linda Katiba when you can see their choreography? The same people, the Railas, Mudavadi, Kalonzo, coalescing around themselves. And let me tell you, it won't surprise me if we don't see another 202 NAC arrangement. Because all these people, it's about their personal interests. Those roads, the infrastructure, the expressways. And because you don't want, and we explained this to you last time when we were with Ogola here, one of the geniuses of Jubilee is to bring Raila Odinga into government. Because you know, Jubilee administration knows it's a failed administration. It's been into slumber for the last 9 years. But there is only a noisemaker out there who is able to give them sleepless night. So what do? Bring him on board, make him part and parcel of the failed government. And that's why now issues to do with accountability, the death of democracy inside our parliament is gone. So let's not take BBI seriously. Let Kenyans focus on what is our priority today.
I'll put food on the table.
How do we save the 7 million small businesses that are since sunk because of COVID-19 effects?
All right. What happens if Jubilee MPs allied to the DP leave Jubilee and Mars?
No, I think there is.
What are the legal implications?
I think the Political Parties Act was amended. I don't know exactly the exact section. It was amended in such a way that I think you don't have to lose your seat.
When you leave a party.
You don't. You can leave the party, but you don't. I think there's an amendment there they did to the Political Parties Act. I don't know exactly, but we can check for the viewers. But again, don't forget.
Actually, where you leave the parties, I think 14.5.
Yes.
They put in those that you must advocate for the formation. You must fund a new party.
Yeah. I know there was an amendment to protect.
They protect themselves, but from where I sit, politics, religion, and love are the same. I am a believer that I don't need to even resign from a political party
in order to leave it.
Because ideology change. I might have had an ideology on taxation, but since I became rich, I have changed my ideology on taxation because I don't want to pay tax. I will not still subscribe the party that, you know, that is the importance of all some of these things. So at the end of the day, the dangers of some of these things is that when we over-legislate politics, we allow for hooligans to chaperone us to other sides. Coming back to the question of Musalia, Mudavadi, Kalonzo, Musyoka, I think those are jokers, if you ask me. We do not...
Let's not even think they are.
Because this is it. If you are a serious presidential candidate worth your salt and you believe in what you want to sell to the people, you don't need any other man or woman to drop down for you to sell. If you have the best shop in town, Gerald, you don't need to close the Mitumba shops for people to know that there is a shop that sells Italian suits. People will always come to that shop. So let us tell Kalonzo and Mudavadi that hii uongozi ya kushikilia watu wengine ndio wengine wakimbia, it doesn't work. This is a democracy. The other thing, it is very interesting that Kalonzo Musyoka and Mudavadi are saying Raila Odinga should not ruka the deal ya NASA, but they want to help Uhuru Kenyatta ruka ya Jubilee. You know, some of these things. You preach about conning, but you say you encourage other people stealing from others. We need to be honest. And that is why when I listen to Kalonzo Musyoka and Mudavadi and Wetangula talk, at times I feel like I am wasting good sleeping time. Because there is nothing new. It's like I'm watching water boil. I can't discover anything new. These are old, stale people.
Karori, Muluka maybe might remind us, because I'm sure he has read more literary books than all of us. You know, when you say you're a presidential candidate, you're worth it.
Yes.
It's like, I don't know who is this author. Is it Elechi Amadi or Chinua Achebe who says a pregnant woman cannot go run in the broad daylight telling people that I'm pregnant.
We see it. We see it.
We see that you are pregnant. So if
I think that is Chinua.
And I think Chinua Achebe was a master of satire.
So these guys are like a pregnant woman. I mean, no pun intended for pregnancy.
Yeah.
But you're running around telling people I'm pregnant. But we can see it.
Yeah, maybe
If
it's
you're a presidential machine.
maybe it's just a few minutes old.
All right, Muluka, take it up.
Yeah. Well, for me, the big paradox is this, that you are in the opposition. You call yourselves the opposition. And sometimes people have also jostled for that title. You say, I'm the last person standing. I'm the leader of the opposition. You find fault with the Jubilee government, and which is right, because really this government has failed. It is dysfunctional. I can talk about that at quite some length. In fact, both the president and his deputy agree that the government has failed, particularly in its second phase. It's not delivering. What they are not agreed upon is who has failed it.
But yet they are the president and the deputy.
The president says it's you, the deputy, who has caused me to digress from my agenda. And the deputy says Raila Odinga came in. And it is true that Raila Odinga wormed his way into this government when he took that thing which he says his oath of office as the people's president. I now see, with the hindsight of history, that he had two options. One option was to mobilize his national resistance army and use it to scuttle, snooker. Is that the word you were using the other day?
Yes.
To snooker, to scuttle the Jubilee government and cause chaos and bloodshed and everything in the streets, and then eventually make that government collapse. His aim was to make that government collapse because it had taken that which he thought belonged to him. But the other option, and which is the one he took, was to say, no, wait a minute, I can do a handshake. I can worm my way into the soft center of this government, and I can use that opportunity to scuttle it. And he's done it very well. The same way he did in 2002, he has got a portion of that Jubilee government on his side. And that portion he has, this time the difference between now and 2002 is that he has gone with the president. In 2002, he went with the vice president. In the 2018 dispensation, he has gone with the side that has got the president. And now, the people in the opposition, beginning with Raila, Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi, and Moses Wetangula.
Is he in the opposition?
And wait a minute. They find it good to be ambiguous, with one leg in the opposition and another leg in the government. And they are telling Uhuru Kenyatta, please endorse us. People in my own village in Wanyuria are waiting patiently to be told that Musalia Mudavadi is the person who has been endorsed by Uhuru Kenyatta. Uhuru Kenyatta, whom they accuse of stealing, whom they accuse of overborrowing, whom they accuse of running down the country, they are waiting for him to endorse them. Why do you want to be endorsed by this person whom you are saying is sinking the government, is a failure? Raila Odinga, being comfortably ensconced in this government, find it convenient sometimes to go to inspect Galana Kulalu and say, I give you a bill of clean health. This is a very good project. He can go with President Uhuru Kenyatta to offshore countries to try to borrow money for government projects. He goes with the president to inspect ports. You can say, oh, is Africa's sijui AU's Africa flim flam. That is hogwash. I've not seen him going to inspect those projects with President Museveni.
But my question, Barack, is
wait, one paragraph to go. Let me take it home quickly. So Raila Odinga, in that space, he can comfortably also run down the same government that he works in. Because the Jubilee government collapsed. Let us forget that there is government, Bitok. The Jubilee government collapsed. It collapsed somewhere between 2018 and 2019. It has no cabinet meetings. How can you say there's government when there are no cabinet meetings? The president never meets his
30 members.
Cabinet secretaries as cabinet. It means that the government collapsed. The reason we are still rolling on is that we have something we call the public service. And that public service has remnants of rudiments from the past. And they're the wheels that this rickety administration is rolling on. It's like my old junk. Somehow it still can roll on. The cogs in the wheels are not yet completely fallen. So it can roll on. So we must get very afraid.
You are competing with the time. You are coming with roll on. But Gerald, before I just wanted to cut short Prof Kidogo. There is something that we must ask ourselves. And that is the question, this issue of endorsement. Are we saying our votes are half and then when somebody endorses the other, the votes become now full? Because if Kenya is a functioning democracy, and when you read our preamble, we are a Republican state, which means the person with the best idea wins the seat. You don't need anybody to endorse you. And secondly, why are endorsements? We are not looking for products. We are saying who has used this before. All of us have been told that, and we have had eloquently speeches, people saying, and as professors captured it, Uhuru has run down the economy. Why will he endorse anybody? Are we endorsing another person to run us down the mill?
Further?
No, we need to ask ourselves. And secondly, what is so hard that we need somebody to be endorsed? And for the people, and Professor, sorry for this, the people who hail from Western Kenya, I think time has come for some of these people to be told truth. If today Musalia Mudavadi and any Western leader, why do they just think about presidential and power in funerals? I have always found it.
Go out and look for that power.
And then they discuss something in a funeral. They spend the next 4 days in Western Kenya.
Sorry, don't attack us.
Saying they are consolidating. No.
But let me tell you, kwa sababu nimekuwa karibu na hawa jamaa. Sio sisi wote bwana. Tumeambia Mudavadi, zunguka Kenya hii uombe.
Ako Riverside, alisema Kenya ni Riverside.
But just a minute so that I don't lose this signal.
Have your thoughts.
The funny thing is this. look at all Western Kenya presidential candidates, apart from Raila Odinga. Mukhisa Kitui resigned from UNCTAD, and I thought he will come here with grand ideas.
No, he retired.
Oh, he retired early in time.
Yeah, I have to protect my tribe.
Yes.
It's very sharp.
Yeah,
When he was almost retiring, he resigned.
He resigned. So he goes with honor. But when he comes to Kenya, he just turns back to be like everybody else. He forms a party known as the Democratic Alliance Party, DAP Kenya. He starts registration not in Nairobi Kawangware, but in a village somewhere in Kimilili.
Charity begins at home.
We
You know
KIPCHUMBA.
KIPCHUMBA, me, I'm surprised even by you. You see, there is nothing wrong with political endorsements, by the way. Me, I'll be so happy if I can be politically endorsed. But tribal endorsement is what I have a problem with. What Kalonzo, Mudavadi, and the rest are confirming to us is that they have no capacity on their own to mobilize this country or to sell any idea. In fact, they have no ideas to sell anyway in the first place. So what they want is a tribal endorsement. That's why you can see we can juxtapose this issue of endorsement with this competition for regions. Region Flani, region this and that. So they are looking for tribal endorsement. And you have said it yourself. If you are really presidential material, and I know Muluka wants to defend this and say charity begins at home, but you see, the charity in this Kenya, I mean, should not be defined from your village context.
And then the only charity you know is a girl in Kenya.
So that's why you can see for them. I think I'm the only presidential candidate who never went to Turkana and declared my presidential.
That's why you didn't become one.
Maybe that is the problem.
Oh, look, the only charity is a girl. Anyway, let's go. I'm just to break it down.
But the serious issue actually here, I mean, I know it's good to have a laugh.
Yeah.
The serious issue there is political endorsement, but there's also the tribal endorsement, which has really killed this country over time. And this is the problem with all these people. And because they know themselves, they really have no capacity even to mobilize. Yeah, I mean, it's all of them. Look at Kalonzo. Every time he wants to talk about presidential, Kambani. Musalia Mudavadi, somewhere Uko Western. Nani, same thing. So they have no capacity. So, but the truth for the matter is, it will not surprise us if again they gang up together because they all need to be in government, just like the way they are right now.
But they're already together.
I know, that's what I'm saying. They pretend.
And
Because you
that's
see,
why-
because you know the reason they talk like that, by the way,
Yeah.
because they know the character of Kenyans. They know Kenyans wants to hear certain lies. And so maybe the problem here actually, and for me, I've always said, you know, if somebody is a thief and has decided that this is how I'm going to make my living, you may not want to blame him. Just like now, President Uhuru Kenyatta is saying, I cannot allow thieves, cannot hand the country to thieves. As the president is admitting, there are actually lawless fellows out there. They are hoovering. They are criminals out there.
Including in his government.
Yes.
And he's doing nothing about it. He's saying the only thing he can't do is to hand over to them.
But
and
he knows they are
that is
criminals.
a very sinister statement.
Yeah.
He's basically saying, I cannot leave power. If he cannot hand the country over, because the mandate of who should be handed power to next does not reside with the president.
You see, the consequence of being elected into office is not through an assembly of thieves, but through a democratic process.
Yes.
So what President Uhuru Kenyatta is saying, there's a number of thieves out there who have ganged up and that they are going to pick one of their own, and he's not going to do that. So he's even throwing our democratic process through the window. Because saying that democratic process, in fact, why should...
And that's actually what I want us to break down. Because, this is not a new conversation. When you look back at the first Kenyatta, Kenyatta version 1. The Jomo. Johnston Kamau.
The bearded Kenyatta.
Yes. He was already did that one as a little bear. I mean, when he was almost dying, there was a scheme to stop Moi from taking over power.
Yes.
There was even a conversation on constitutional change, which is happening today. It's not new in history.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he went ahead and became the president for 24 years. In 2002, Moi was also scheming how to leave power to his surrogates and circumvent the democratic space, which was the voting. In 2012, Uhuru Kenyatta himself was a victim of this conversation of we cannot leave power to certain people. We are told about choices have consequences. They will say we are not going to give power to ICC indictees or murderers and all these other conversations. He went ahead and became the president. And my question has been, and I want us really to break it down for the sake of the Mwananchi, in a democratic space, when the president stands on a podium and tells Kenyans that I'm not going to allow
Thieves
to take off, or I'm not going to hand over power. He said this, I'm not going to hand over power to certain people. These are, you're talking to people who vote, who go and sit, make line up and make a vote. You're telling them that your vote doesn't matter. I mean, guys, can we break this down?
in 2022, we talk, especially after the election, President Uhuru will be functus official. He'll be
Done.
He'll be
Kaput.
done. He'll be irrelevant. So it does not make sense for him to say, I will hand over power, as if he owns the country. He does not own this country. He does not own the democratic space in this country. He's not in control of how Kenyans will go to the ballot to elect their leaders. It is the process of election, the electoral process, that will beget another presidential candidate and other leaders. So his handing over power will be ceremonial. In fact, he will even do Kenyans a lot of justice and just pull a Trump, where
he just stays away.
Where he just stays away. He refused to go for the swearing-in ceremony of Joe Biden, and Joe Biden took over power by noon. So even for him, in that context, he does not want to treat us.
You have to understand his thinking, because Uhuru has tested, or President Uhuru Kenyatta has tested the foundations of our constitution, and he has seen that he can defy them. He was supposed to swear in or appoint or preside over the swearing in of 41 judges. Now I'm told they are 40. And he refused. And nothing has happened. He has defied a number of court orders, and nothing has happened. And whether we agree with Justice Maraga or not on the advisory that Parliament should have been dissolved, once again, Uhuru Kenyatta defied it, and nothing happened. And something tells him, therefore, increasingly when you listen to his ebullient and bullish nature and pronouncements, that he thinks that he can actually refuse to vacate State House. The truth of the matter is that by the end of August next year, President Uhuru Kenyatta will be a stranger in State House. And if he says, oh, Kenyans, I told you I would not hand over to a thief, and you have elected someone whom I consider to be a thief, and therefore I'm not vacating State House, state machinery will remove him from State House and tell him, you are now a stranger in this place. That's why President Trump, understanding that eventually, had to leave the White House.
Yeah.
But Gerald,
Pick it up.
there is the other thing that we must say, and say it well. Power that Uhuru Kenyatta wills is what we call Article 1 power. It is the sovereign power donated to him. He has no power of his own. That the only power he has of his own that doesn't need us is the power he has in his Ichaweri family or wherever he comes from.
Yes, if he has
Even that one is limited. Even at home, our powers are limited. Yeah, there are certain things that you cannot do. The only power that you have, which you can say, this is my power, is the power to perform natural biological functions. Beyond that,
It's either you have it or you don't.
So, Gerald,
Karori, continue
beyond
that.
that,
That's a very
you don't
important
have.
point you're raising, Chumba.
Let Karori continue.
Gerald, what we must say, and it is good the discussion has begun in earnest, that the power, even when as a parent, as Professor is saying, you cannot force your own child whom to marry. You have no that power. They will come and tell you, I'm marrying so and so. Yours, you will just go there as a witness, na unyamaze, and you will have no. But now going forward, what we must ask is this: we must ask ourselves from the Kenyatta one, the Johnston Kenyatta, to Uhuru Kenyatta, what have we learned about the Kenyattas? One is that it is inherent upon them that they don't organize exit politics well. Kenyatta exited the stage. He left Mount Kenya. the same way Uhuru Kenyatta will live in Mount Kenya. He left Mount Kenya when everybody was for himself. As opposed to Kibaki, he left Mount Kenya knowing there was a Uhuru Kenyatta to take care of the backyard. But the same thing now we are witnessing. So is it a weakness within the Kenyatta genealogy that when they are leaving power, they leave people in a disarray? Those are some of the discussions we will ask historians going forward. But the issue of leaving power and whom to live for, that is not the function of Uhuru Kenyatta. He has one vote just like everybody in this room. The only thing that he has that we don't have is the power to get the sword from the chief of staff of the general forces.
Even that in his absence, somebody else can.
Yeah, actually, because the constitution actually is self-perpetuating.
It is.
It says on if 14 days after the election, there is no election petition, and nobody organizes for a swearing in, on the lapse of the 14th day, automatically. Power has shifted. So those are some of the things the people around.
Even the issue of the sword is ceremonial.
Yes, the people around.
Comes from so we can make another sword.
Yes, no. The real power, as we are saying, comes from the people, and it will be on 8th. On 9th, is it 9th August? On 9th, the people will exercise their sovereignty. So whoever they elect, and the people will elect a person they choose. They will not elect a thief. They will elect a Kenyan who is qualified under the IBC criteria to be the next president. And what, Gerald, now we need to discuss the negative side of that statement.
Yes. That's what I was saying. We really need to break it down.
Unless we are discussing about a failed state. It is such a sentiment that sends a country to where PV centers, where people start harboring ideas that what if this president refuses to leave power? We will do ABCD. That ABCD is not in the constitution. That is when anarchy comes in. So if we cannot entertain this from Uhuru, and I am hoping Bensouda has opened a file to watch whatever is happening, because we pay money to the Rome Statute. So we must demand as taxpayers that the people in Hague must have their activities here, so that they know well in time that so and so said what was the impact of this statement.
We should start gathering evidence of incitement. Because I mean, and I think one of the justices, Kenyans can actually do justice to themselves, is to just, by the way, these people who threaten even our own peaceful coexistence are not many. We know them. We can even name them here, starting from President Uhuru Kenyatta. With that utterance, it's very dangerous utterance. Raila Odinga, Kalonzo Musyoka, Musalia Mudavadi, I don't know who the other, William Ruto, all those people. The danger I see in all these people, Bitok, is a sense of entitlement. That if it is not us, then nothing else matters. That's why I see the danger of the danger on our democracy, the danger on our constitution, which is why someone like President Uhuru would purport to personalize the transfer of power as if it comes from him. It is not his preserve, like Wakili has said. Just need to read the preamble of Kenya and Article 1. The sovereign authority of this country vests from the people of Kenya. They can exercise it directly or indirectly through their elected leaders. So even an elected leaders know the power I have is actually donated by the people through the constitution. So this kind of talk coming from a president is really dangerous. And this is what is heightening regional and tribal emotions. That's why you can see people are coalescing around, our man. It's our time. I mean, so what? When you become a president, you don't just serve your community or your region. You are a father figure.
You can.
Okay, talk to me about it. Talk to the point.
We have seen it. We have seen it in this country, and we have seen the president going to retreating to a state lodge and calling his tribesmen to go and see him in the state lodge. You know, a state lodge is public property.
It is.
It does not belong
to
our
house,
the individual. In fact, that's why it is predicated. That premises is predicated by the name state.
State.
It is a lodge that belongs to ourselves. But you have seen a president retreating into that premises, into that space, and calling his tribesmen and making very irate pronouncements of almost an insightful nature, including saying things like, if you think you have stones, you're not the only one with stones, and saying things like, even me when I was younger, ni vile tu sasa nimekuwa mzee kidogo. He's sending a message to the younger people in that gathering and telling them that you should also know that they are stones. We say in Emmanudia that when someone wants to incite your sons to beat you up, if we are having a quarrel with you, and my sons are in that assembly, and I want them to beat you up, I'll say things like, oh, how I wish I had sons who could defend me. Why do people abuse me like this, like someone who has no sons? That's essentially what the president is doing when he goes to Sagana, into that space, and says they think they are the only ones who have stones. Even me when I was younger, it's just that now I'm old.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you see, Muluka, you're raising a very pertinent, heavy point that we really must now take to the people.